In 2025, Turkey is expected to unveil the latest version of its Bayraktar family of military unmanned aerial vehicles, more commonly referred to as drones. The Bayraktar TBIII will be the third generation of the weapon, it's right there in the name, isn't it? Which has seen extensive use in locations as diverse as Ethiopia, Syria, and in Ukraine. The Bayraktar has been purchased by the defense ministries in multiple more countries still, and was described by The New Yorker in 2022 as the drone that changed the nature of warfare. In 2024, we took a look at the Bayraktar TB2, to date the most recent generation of the drone, through the prism of its central place in the Ukrainian military arsenal, as well as its decisive use in other theaters of war. So, ahead of the unveiling of the TB3, we thought we'd take another look at this new piece of military hardware and note what are the specs that will make it so potentially lethal. This video is brought to you by Squarespace, your all-in-one platform to build a stunning website and take your online presence to the next level. Whether you're starting a side hustle, sharing your passion project, or launching your brand, Squarespace has the tools to make it happen. First, Design Intelligence, a cutting-edge AI-powered feature that helps you craft a personalized website that's as unique as your ideas. Next, Squarespace Payments, which streamlines your business with seamless payment options like Apple Pay, Klarna, and more. And for content creators, their email campaign tool makes it a breeze to engage your audience and drive traffic with beautifully designed templates. Building a site, it's intuitive, it's fast, it's kind of fun. And look, if I can do it, I got no tech skills, I got no design skills, you can too. So, if you're ready to get started, head to squarespace.com/megaprojects for a free trial. When you're ready to launch, use the code MEGAPROJECTS to save 10% on your first purchase of a website or a domain. And now back to today's video. If you've ever been to Turkey, you will have experienced one of the richest cultures in the world. From the sprawling historic city of Istanbul to the resorts of Bodrum and Kuşadası, Turkey's a land of wonder and intrigue. It is known for its cuisine, its hospitality, its natural features, and a variety of other riches. But what is perhaps unknown to many who visit is that Turkey has, for generations, also been a highly warmongering state, simultaneously involved in a number of active and frozen conflicts, and playing a supporting role in several others. In the 1960s, Turkey twice invaded the island of Cyprus and continues to occupy the northern third of the island in contravention of international law. Beginning in the 80s, the state entered into a vicious conflict with Kurdish separatists, something which equally has continued to this day and spilled over into surrounding countries. In 2008, Turkey's war with the Kurds led to it invading Iraq, where it once again continues to occupy a sliver of territory in the northernmost reaches of Iraqi territory. And in 2019, Turkey did the same thing in Syria, and you guessed it, continues to administer around 11% of Syrian territory today. Now, that means that Turkey is currently occupying the territory of 2 of the 8 countries with which it shares a land border, plus the territory on the island of Cyprus. And moreover, Turkey has abysmal relations with its eastern neighbor, Armenia, and while this has not erupted into open warfare directly between the two countries, Turkey played a key role in the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan, as we'll see later in today's video. So, given Turkey's track record, and also its occasional military ties with Russia, the US has been reluctant to share military hardware with Turkey, despite the latter being a member of NATO since 1952. Discussions over the sale of military equipment to Turkey have become a thorny topic in the American Senate, especially around the time of the conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh in 2022 and 2023, and concurrent growing disputes with Greece. So, Turkey has taken several steps to circumnavigate this. One has been to buy high-tech weaponry from other countries willing to sell, including Israel, with whom Turkey, perhaps confusingly, has otherwise held a fractious relationship with over its treatment of the Palestinians. But another has been to develop an arsenal of weapons of its own, chief of which is the notorious family of drones, which is the subject of today's video. Now, part of the reason that its military innovation is possible is because Turkey is one of the most militaristic states in the world. It is conscription of between 6 and 12 months applicable to all men, and a standing army of some 350,000 soldiers in 2024, leaving it 16th overall in global military size. Its defense spending, one of the highest in the world, $15.8 billion in 2023, ranking it 22nd globally for that year. But something that makes Turkey's military spending unusual is the aforementioned innovation, which has allowed it to sidestep the hesitance of the US to equip it. We've already covered some areas of this, such as our recent video on Turkey's 5th-generation stealth fighter jet known as the Khan, and, well, check out that video if you haven't already. But perhaps the most well-known area of Turkish military innovation is, of course, their drones, which, as mentioned, have seen use in conflicts near and far. They're cheap, they are reliable, and they add a particularly deadly element to Turkey's military armory, as well as those of the many countries which have purchased them. And Turkey is now preparing to release the latest generation of its Bayraktar. Unveiling will be sometime in 2025. The Bayraktar drones have been developed by Turkish aviator, businessman, and engineer Selçuk Bayraktar, founder and chairman of the arms company Bayraktar. Selçuk Bayraktar has been compared to America's Elon Musk due to his role in Turkey's aviation tech development. He's also the son-in-law of Turkish President Erdogan, having married Erdogan's daughter, Sümeyye, in 2016. The Bayraktar company, of which Selçuk is the chairman, was founded by his father, Özdemir, in 1984, and its original focus was on the production of car engines and spare parts to ensure the self-sufficiency of the automotive industry in Turkey. By the early 2000s, the company had switched to arms production, and the prototype of the first Bayraktar drone was unveiled in 2005. The second, and to date most recent Bayraktar, was the TB2, which made its first successful flight in 2014. The TB2 has since been deployed by Turkey in Syria, by Turkey's ally Azerbaijan in Nagorno-Karabakh, by the government of Libya in its civil war with rebel factions, and also by Ukraine against Russia. In practically all of these conflicts, the drone has proved extremely effective. But it has its limitations. It relies on satellite communication for beyond line-of-sight operations, rendering it liable to being affected by adverse weather conditions or electronic warfare measures. It's also vulnerable to advancements in air defense and especially advanced anti-aircraft systems. And in light of these and other limitations, Turkey began an endeavor to update these drones. And the first test flight of the TB3 took place at the end of 2023. Now, according to Bayraktar, the specs of the new drone will outmatch all previous generations, including the TB2, quite significantly. The new model will be both longer and wider than its forerunner, with a wingspan of 14 meters as compared to the TB2's 12 meters. It will have almost double the maximum payload at 280 kilograms versus the TB2's 150 kilograms. Its maximum takeoff weight will also be greater, and at 1,600 kilos will be more than double that of the TB2 at a little over 700 kilograms. Despite this, it will be significantly faster, with a cruising maximum speed of between 110 and 130 knots true airspeed, or KTAS. The TB2, which was noted for its lumbering flight, only managed a relatively paltry airspeed of between 70 and 120. In terms of armaments, the TB3 can hold 6 hardpoints for laser-guided munitions, yet another upgrade on the TB2's capacity of 4. And while Bayraktar have remained relatively mute on the model's air susceptibility, being both faster and higher flying than the previous model, it is likely that this will have altered substantially too. In addition, what will make the TB3 distinct is its ability to be launched not only from land, but also from maritime vessels, not least Turkey's own fleet. Turkey has the 10th strongest navy in the world and 12th largest, and in November 2024, the TB3 drone successfully took off from and landed on the deck of the amphibious assault ship TGC Anadolu. This was the first time a fixed-wing, unmanned aircraft of such a size and class had successfully done so from a drone carrier ship, something made possible by the new model's feature of foldable wings. The TB3 will also have a greater service ceiling, operational altitude, and slightly longer maximal flight time than its predecessor. In short, the new Bayraktar will be longer, wider, faster, stronger, and more dynamic than the TB2. It's going to be able to reach greater heights, carry more stuff, and also carry more weapons. And given how effective, despite its limitations, the TB2 has proven in modern warfare, it is possible that with the introduction of the TB3, conflict as we know it is about to be changed once again. But look, aside from the edge the new model will likely bring to the Turkish military, the Bayraktars are a major source of revenue for Ankara. Countries currently using the TB2 or its smaller reconnaissance model, the Mini UAV, include Azerbaijan, Libya, Qatar, Kenya, Poland, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, Pakistan, Ukraine, and a whole lot of others. According to Turkey's state-controlled media outlet Daily Sabah, the Bayraktar company was Turkey's leading exporter by the end of 2023, with exports worth around $1.7 billion. This accounted for around 30% of Turkey's total defense and aviation exports of $5.5 billion. These exports are likely to increase with the introduction of the TB3, and possibly further still with the development of the Gazelma, an unmanned fighter jet which Bayraktar claimed to have allocated $1 billion toward developing. The company has stated that the fighter jet will be slated for introduction within 5 years of its announcement in 2024. And around the same time as the first flight of the TB3 took place, Bayraktar announced that it was investing $100 million in 3 projects on Ukrainian soil, including a production plant for drone parts and engines, which is also expected to open in 2025. But while probably good news for Ukraine, the Turkish advances in weaponry should, and to some extent have, come as a cautionary tale to other countries. For one thing, since the defeat of Bashar al-Assad, Turkey has beefed up its military operations against the Kurds in Syria, mostly through its backing of the Syrian National Army rebel group. For now, the Kurdish forces have been able to keep the Turkish forces at bay. However, the Kurds are vulnerable to air attack, and this reality could get a whole lot more severe with the addition of this advanced new weapon to Turkey's arsenal. Already, the TB2 displayed startling effectiveness in the mountains of Nagorno-Karabakh, wherein the drone helped Azeri attackers blitz Armenian positions in the well-entrenched region, which is a topography not dissimilar from that of Syrian and Iraqi Kurdistan. The Armenians, to their very great detriment, had relied on outdated Russian air defense systems which proved completely ineffective in containing the threat of the high-altitude TB2s. The Second Nagorno-Karabakh War was a stark insight as to the destructive power of the weapon, and for many, a new page in the history of modern warfare. Geopolitical Monitor went as far as to label the 44-day conflict as the first drone war in history. On the other side of the Aegean, the Greeks might also look on these developments with a great degree of alarm. Turkey and Greece have collided regularly over maritime zones in the Aegean Sea, with a report by the CIA claiming that Turkey routinely violates the air and maritime sovereignty of its neighbor. Although open wars in neither country's interest, not least because they are both a part of NATO and has, for now, always been avoided, the prospect can't be entirely ruled out either. The Greek army is significantly smaller than the Turkish, both in terms of manpower and in hardware. What it does have, though, is an advantage in its strategic islands, and also historically more advanced air capabilities. Greece is believed to have some of the best fighter pilots in NATO, and has also purchased state-of-the-art fighter jets from France, while Turkey, unwisely, bought air defense missiles from Russia. Greece has also been able to buy F-35 jets from the US, in addition to Mirage 2000s and some modernized F-16s. Due to its hardware arrangements with Russia, Turkey has, to date, been barred from benefiting from the same fighter jet deals as Greece, although the US did consent to selling Ankara a fleet of 40 F-16s in exchange for lifting its veto on Sweden's entry to NATO in early 2024. But Greece has nothing like the Bayraktars, and nothing close to Turkey's military budget. Turkey's military spending leapt from $15.8 billion in 2023 to almost $40 billion in 2024. Moreover, the presidency announced that this would increase further to the equivalent of $47 billion in 2025, almost evenly split between defense and domestic security. Moreover, the Turkish government last year aimed to double defense industry exports to $11 billion from the previous figure of $6 billion. $6 billion, incidentally, is roughly the same figure as the entire defense budget of Greece, and it can be presumed that a large part of Turkey's increased military exports hinges around the sale of Bayraktar drones. In January 2023, Bayraktar announced on its website that it had sold its TB2 drones to no fewer than 28 countries. Later that same year, Saudi Arabia added itself to the list, signing the largest deal for procurement of the drones to date, estimated to be worth about $1 billion. By now, dozens of countries have equipped themselves with the TB2, a version classed as outdated by some countries undergoing active warfare. It can only be speculated how many countries will queue up to buy the TB3 when it is unveiled this year. But with defense and aviation hardware now sitting unassailably at the helm of Turkish exports, and with the new model far outweighing the existing modeling capabilities, it is likely that this number will increase substantially. And with it, fifth-generation warfare might be entering a new era entirely.